Good morning, guys. Happy Thursday. It's shortly after 5, maybe 5:15. I've been awake since 3:30. Um, Aging, hormones, hot flashes. Who knows? I just have to laugh every day. It's a little bit earlier, and it's okay. It's all good. I just believe that it's meant to give me enough time so that I don't rush and worry about being late. And interestingly enough, today's golden nugget word is worry. Our days are filled with so much worry. We worry about everything. And the more I thought about it, I was like, how do we get control of it? Like, it shows up about everything in every instance, in every situation. And again, we have control over it. It's a choice. It's a choice of how we're going to look at things. It's a choice of how we're going to designate our time in the day. And so worry was the first thing that came to mind after I came out of my worship time and praying. And so we're just going to get right into it, guys. My notes, I've been writing for the past hour, reading, researching, and then just reflecting on the past 24 hours, just to give you an example. And the reason why I say 24 hours is intentional. And as I go through this little tidbit, I will let you know at the end of our little tidbit why 24 hours is a huge eye-opener for me. Anyway, worry. What is worry? Like, what does it actually mean? It's actually a state of anxiety and uncertainty over actual or potential problems. It's an uneasiness, a restlessness, like a nervousness. We allow our minds to dwell on difficulty or troubles. Here's my baby. He's messing with my books here. I'm going to try to stay focused. So when we worry, it's this uncontrollable, repetitive manner that we just keep repeating situations in our minds that we fabricate. A lot of the stuff that we worry about, guys, we make up. It hasn't even happened. Like, we just intentionally set our minds to think about the worst. And as I was reading about what causes us to do that, it's because we want to be able to sort of process in our minds so that we feel like we're in control of whatever potentially can happen. But if we stop for a second and think about it, we've already created a situation that's going to have a negative outcome. We're thinking about the things that could be the worst possible outcome, and then we're focusing on that. And then we're focusing on how we're going to deal with it when that thing happens. And all that does is it literally robs us of living in the present. You're letting good, valuable time go by because we're living in this fabricated world of worry. So I'm not surprised that that's the word of the day. It's a coping mechanism, guys, for the unknown. And we have to intentionally decide to focus on good things. When you focus on good things, all of a sudden, it's possibility thinking. The possibility of what could go, what could happen if I think about just letting things be, living in the present and compartmentalizing our thoughts, our experiences into 24 hours. And that's why I mentioned it before. I've started this practice of literally just thinking about the next 24 hours. We worry when we think about the past, which we can't do anything about because it's already happened. We worry about things that potentially could happen in the future. Again, it hasn't even happened. It's fabricated, it's made up. And so the only thing that we really have is the present, these 24 hours. Tomorrow's not guaranteed, it's not promised. Who are we to think that we're going to have tomorrow to wake up to? So let's put things into perspective and let's do a little reality check. If you compartmentalize your life into 24 hours, think about the possibilities. Think about the opportunities that you can have. Flip the switch. Flip the switch. When you think about the things that you have to do in these 24 hours, like I have to go to work, I have to show up at a certain time. There's things that you have to do that you can't control. Awesome. But there's so many pockets in a 24-hour day that you don't have to do. So don't fill those pockets with worry about things for tomorrow or what's on your calendar for the next 2 days, or even the next week, or even later. Like, just let things be. Live in the moment. Experience. Be present. Look for good. Focus your attention on the things that could bring you joy. And when you start changing your focus, all of a sudden you start noticing all those good things. And one thing leads to another, and before you know it, you flip the switch and you're actually living in the present. Scripture, Matthew 6:34 says, "Therefore, do not worry about tomorrow, for tomorrow will worry about its own things. Sufficient for today is its own trouble." Sufficient for today is its own trouble. So you've got to flip the switch and you've got to start thinking about the possibilities, because you are in control of that. You're in control of how you start seeing things. Be very vigilant. Be mindful about the things that you pay attention to. Be mindful about what thoughts you're letting into your mind and what thoughts you're giving attention to, because you have control over that. There's a choice. I like to say that you have to reason yourself into peace. If you can so easily reason yourself into worry, you can reason yourself into peace. The moment you start thinking negatively and the moment you start feeling stressed out about something, stop. That's it. Stop. Flip the switch and start thinking about the possibilities of the opposing thing happening. How about you start thinking about what good could come out of it? I like to think of it as like a test. Everything is a test in life, guys. If you start to think about things that aren't going your way as a test, do you want to pass the test or do you want to fail it? Because when you fail the test, you gotta do a redo. I don't know about you, but I don't have time for redos. I want to live for the possibilities of the good that can happen. I don't want to waste my time. Time is something you can't get back, guys. The second that I started this video is already gone. That's how simple it is. It's gone. You don't get to relive it. So be intentional about how you spend your time, what you spend your time thinking about. Are you going to fill your mind with things that are going to worry you? Fabricated things that haven't even happened yet? Or are you going to focus your attention on the possibilities of the things that could happen? And oh my goodness, that increases your passion, increases your energy, increases your want and drive to live an experience. It's almost like the day before you go on a vacation, you get butterflies, like you can't sleep. You're in such great anticipation. That's how you should see your next 24 hours. Live in the present. It's like going on vacation, and if it's not, it's a test. Pass the test, learn something from it. Because when you pass the test and you learn something from it, it strengthens you. It builds your character. James 1:2 says, "Count it all joy when you meet trials of various kinds, knowing that the testing of your faith produces patience. But let patience have its perfect work, that you may be perfect, complete, lacking nothing." Oh my goodness. The possibilities are endless when you're learning and growing in ways you never would otherwise unless you were faced with a test. And guess what? You get stronger for the next time you're facing a test. Why? Because now you're starting to build positive connections in flipping the switch and looking at these things in a positive light, in a different lens. You start to become grounded and you get a solid foundation. You build these deep roots And so when the trials come, you're not just blown away and tossed around. You'll persevere. Don't worry. Instead, anticipate and look for goodness, and you will begin to attract and you will begin to see it. Stop sabotaging your near future. It hasn't even happened yet, and you're worried about it. Just let it be. Let it be. Walk into it and experience it by being present and open to the possibilities. Guys, just 24 hours. Just think about 24 hours. Chunk up your time. Even if you have to do something that you don't want to do, or if it's something that is uncomfortable for you to do, but you know it's good for you, chunk it into time. If you say, oh, I only haven't, it's only an hour. It's only X amount of time. You start to be able to let it go and stop seeing the pain in it and start seeing the possibility in it. All right, I'm going to go through this thing and I'm going to see what I can learn from it. Be open. Don't be so closed and so rigid and so focused on the negative aspect of it. Live in the here and now, guys. The best advice I could give you, listen to me. And listen closely. Goodness gracious, get a hold of this. Tomorrow is never promised. You've got to live today as if today was the last day you're going to be on this earth. And when you start to think that way, you start to let go of the nonsense that we fill our time and our minds with. If you knew that today could be the last day that you would be here on earth, what would you do differently? Stop and think about that. That's reality. That is reality. You're here right now. Live. Stop worrying about everything. You're robbing yourself of living. Like I said, every second is gone already. You don't get a chance to relive that. You don't get a chance to do it over. So be mindful about what you're doing right now, what you're putting your thoughts on. What are you spending your time doing that's growing you, that's bringing you joy? You deserve it. Stop worrying and start living. And watch how your world starts to become colorful. Guys, happy Thursday. We have a long weekend coming up. And if anything, think about that. You get a long weekend. It's the little things, guys. Just find something to find joy rather than worry. Enjoy your day, guys. I'll see you tomorrow.